A nation once known for its alpine beauty and fortress banking now finds itself at the center of Europe's darkest political scandal. What happens when the line between law enforcement and organized crime doesn't just blur? It disappears entirely. This is the story of how one of Europe's smallest nations became a cautionary tale about power, corruption, and the silent infiltration of democratic institutions. Between 2019 and 2024, a series of investigations revealed that key figures within a European government allegedly maintained secret ties to international drug trafficking networks. The country in question sits at the crossroads of major smuggling routes, making it valuable territory for criminal organizations seeking to move narcotics across borders. What made this case unprecedented wasn't just the scale of alleged corruption, but how deep into the machinery of government these connections reportedly reached. This story matters because it exposes how organized crime adapts, how it learns to wear a suit and tie, and how democracies can be hollowed out from within while citizens go about their daily lives unaware. The first cracks in the facade appeared in early 2019, when a routine financial audit flagged unusual transactions flowing through accounts connected to mid-level government officials. Investigators initially suspected simple embezzlement, but the money trails led somewhere far more troubling. By late 2020, wiretaps authorized in an unrelated case accidentally captured conversations between a senior law enforcement official and known members of a Balkan drug trafficking organization. According to leaked transcripts, the discussions involved shipment schedules, border checkpoints, and payment structures. The recordings were brought to prosecutors who faced an immediate dilemma. The person on the tapes reported directly to the Interior Minister. In February 2021, a journalist from an independent news outlet received an encrypted USB drive containing thousands of pages of internal government correspondence. The documents allegedly showed a pattern of appointments, promotions, and policy decisions that consistently favored individuals with suspected criminal ties. Key anti-drug units were systematically defunded while border patrol assignments were restructured in ways that left specific routes under-monitored. The breaking point came in August 2022 when a cargo shipment intercepted in a neighboring country contained over 200 kilograms of cocaine. The shipping documents were forged, but the forgeries used official government letterhead and security stamps that should have been impossible to replicate. Forensic analysis suggested the stamps were genuine, meaning someone with access to state resources had facilitated the shipment. By spring 2023, 3 separate international bodies were conducting parallel investigations. Phone records, financial audits, and witness testimony began to paint a picture of a shadow network operating within government offices. Meetings were held in official buildings after hours. Encrypted phones were issued through official procurement channels but used for unofficial purposes. The case rests on several distinct categories of evidence, each requiring careful scrutiny. Financial records show approximately €8.4 million in unexplained transfers between 2019 and 2022, flowing through shell companies registered in jurisdictions with weak disclosure laws. Investigators traced beneficial ownership back to family members and associates of government officials, though direct links to the officials themselves remain alleged rather than proven. Intercepted communications form the second pillar. According to court documents, over 40 hours of recorded conversations captured coded language consistent with drug trafficking operations, including references to shipments, packages, and delivery schedules in contexts that investigators argue were clearly not legitimate government business. Defense attorneys have countered that coded language doesn't prove criminal intent and that interpretation relies heavily on context and assumption. Physical evidence includes the forged but authentic stamped shipping documents mentioned earlier, as well as security footage from government buildings showing individuals with known criminal records entering restricted areas during late-night hours. The footage shows access but doesn't capture what occurred during these visits or whether any illegal activity took place. Witness testimony has proven more complicated. Several mid-level officials agreed to cooperate with investigators in exchange for immunity, providing detailed accounts of how the network allegedly operated. However, credibility concerns arise when witnesses have their own legal exposure and clear incentives to satisfy prosecutors. Defense teams have challenged the reliability of testimony obtained under pressure. Not everyone accepts the narrative of systematic infiltration. Government officials named in the investigation have consistently denied wrongdoing, arguing that the evidence reflects sloppy administration and unfortunate associations rather than criminal conspiracy. Some legal experts point out that proximity to criminals isn't itself a crime, and that in small nations with tight-knit communities, professional and personal networks inevitably overlap. Alternative explanations focus on institutional weakness rather than deliberate corruption. Critics of the investigation suggest that understaffed agencies, outdated security protocols, and chronic underfunding created vulnerabilities that opportunistic criminals exploited without requiring high-level accomplices. This view holds that incompetence explains more than conspiracy. Significant gaps remain in the public record. Key documents are sealed for national security reasons. Several individuals identified as persons of interest fled before formal charges were filed, taking with them whatever testimony they might have provided. The full extent of political leadership's knowledge or involvement remains unclear, with some arguing that top officials were victims of rogue subordinates while others contend that willful blindness at minimum enabled the network's operation. The human cost of this scandal extends far beyond the political class. Communities along suspected trafficking routes reported increases in drug-related crime, overdoses, and social disruption during the period in question. Families dealing with addiction found themselves caught in a system where the institutions meant to protect them were allegedly compromised. Trust in law enforcement deteriorated as rumors circulated and investigations dragged on. Career civil servants who tried to report irregularities faced professional retaliation, some losing positions they'd held for decades. Whistleblowers described an atmosphere of fear where asking questions could end a career. One former customs official told reporters that after flagging suspicious shipments, they were reassigned to administrative duties and eventually forced into early retirement. The broader public experienced a collective loss of faith in democratic institutions. Opinion polling showed trust in government reaching historic lows as revelations emerged. For a nation that prided itself on stability and rule of law, the scandal represented a fundamental breach of the social contract between citizens and the state. Organized crime's evolution into political spaces follows a predictable pattern, according to scholars who study criminal governance. Think of it like a parasite that becomes sophisticated enough to mimic its host. Eventually, observers can't tell where the legitimate organism ends and the infection begins. Criminal networks no longer need to operate in opposition to the state when they can simply become part of it. This case illustrates what researchers call state capture, where private interests gain control over public institutions through corruption, influence, and infiltration. The mechanism works like water finding cracks in concrete, applying pressure at weak points until larger structural failures follow. Once key positions are secured, the network can self-perpetuate by controlling appointments, investigations, and information flows. The European context matters because it demonstrates that even wealthy, stable democracies with strong legal traditions remain vulnerable. Geographic positioning creates opportunity, political complacency creates opening, and human ambition creates entry points. When these factors align, the results can be devastating to institutional integrity. Here's what the evidence appears to show: systematic anomalies in government operations, financial flows that defy legitimate explanation, and documented contacts between officials and known criminals. What remains unproven is the full scope of involvement, the degree of central coordination, and whether top leadership participated or simply failed to supervise. The distinction between institutional failure and criminal conspiracy may ultimately matter less than the outcome. A government apparatus that allegedly served criminal interests, whether through active collaboration or passive negligence. This brings us to the question of accountability and consequence. Additional indictments will be filed as investigators work through the evidence backlog. Several mid-level officials face likely prosecution based on existing documentation. Administrative reforms will be implemented regardless of criminal case outcomes, including enhanced financial disclosure requirements and restructured oversight mechanisms. Some high-ranking officials will face charges, though proving knowledge and intent at senior levels remains challenging given the compartmentalized nature of the alleged network. Civil cases seeking financial recovery of embezzled or diverted funds will proceed in parallel with criminal prosecutions. International cooperation will continue as neighboring nations have vested interest in disrupting trafficking routes. The full truth will emerge in a clear, definitive manner. Complex cases involving state institutions often end in partial answers, plea agreements that protect certain individuals, and sealed settlements. Some architects of the network may never face formal charges due to evidence limitations, jurisdictional complications, or simply successful flight from justice. Political consequences remain unpredictable. Public pressure may force wholesale government restructuring, or fatigue and competing priorities may allow the scandal to fade from headlines before meaningful reform occurs. This story serves as a reminder that the infrastructure of democracy requires constant maintenance and vigilant protection against those who would exploit it for private gain. If you want to understand how these networks operate at ground level, watch Inside the Logistics: How Modern Drug Cartels Actually Move Product Across Borders. It connects directly to the smuggling routes allegedly protected by the government figures in today's story.